Hi, tell us your names and a little bit about yourselves.
All right, I'm Karla, and I work here at the church in the children's ministry, and this is my friend Amanda.
Hey, I'm Amanda, and I'm married to Darren, the lead pastor here, and I have 4 kiddos, Carson, Caroline, Case, and Carrigan.
So, tell us about how you guys met and became such great friends.
I honestly don't remember the first time we met. We have known each other forever. We went to school together. I remember my first memory of you is probably maybe when I was in 8th grade and you were in 6th grade, and I kind of knew who Josh was, so I guess that's...
My brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I knew your stepbrothers. I knew Michael, because Michael and I went to kindergarten together, so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember the very first time we met either, but Karla was in that, age group that was a couple years older than me, and she had all these really fun and awesome, cool friends, and I wanted to be with that group, so... Probably my first memory, though, of like really being friends was probably when I was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So.
It was at church. I mean, I'm sure we were in youth group together at church.
Yes, we met through church and hung out and did youth group stuff together.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask you next. What sort of experiences do you think like solidified your friendship and defined it?
Church.
Mm-hmm.
We were in youth group together. We had, I think summer, like I had a mutual friend that brought you kind of into our group.
Yes.
And we ate lunch together in the cafeteria. Mm-hmm. And then we were in youth group together. We did like all the summer camp stuff together, Summer in the Sun. We were in drama together. We did plays and stuff.
Yeah, and we even did some like service things with youth group.
Yeah.
We would go to nursing homes and I didn't do the puppets, but
yeah.
I remember puppets being involved.
I did puppets. That's why I'm in children's ministry.
Was it puppets at the nursing home, or maybe I'm mixing some stories? I don't know that.
Well, you did the Daniel skits, and you traveled around doing Daniel drama.
I think that shared life experiences is what really bonds friends together. When you share things that are not just the everyday, but the everyday too. I think that's really important as well. But going on summer trips together, or youth group outings, or serving together, attending church together, being in school and theater together, we just made some great lifelong memories.
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys said that you became friends when you were like early teens-ish. And at that age and life stage, junior high school, there's a lot of things that could come between friendships. And drama or, different things that could happen, and hormones and all that fun stuff. So were there any points in your earlier friendship where there was tension, or you guys would argue, and how did you deal with that, and how did you get past that, and what did you learn from those experiences, those sorts of things?
I don't know that we argued when we were kids so much. There was always drama because we were girls. And
and we were very dramatic.
Hormones. I don't remember a lot of fights. I'm sure we did fight. It's hard to remember those.
Not very many.
Because it was a long, long time ago.
Right. I mean, I definitely think we went through some hard things together and stupid teen choices and decisions. And, I know that I did in high school things that hurt her. But I just feel like somehow God has a way of restoring and redeeming, and so even stuff that happened a long time ago, I mean, it still was it's part of our story, and so it's cool that we have this history and we have this long story, but it wasn't always smooth and perfect and
rainbows and sunshine.
No, it wasn't always rainbows and sunshine.
Well, I think it's important to realize too, especially when you're in that phase of life, everything seems like a giant, huge, life-changing thing.
Yes.
And then when you get just even a few years down the road, it's so not important. Like it's just not. It's just not. That's not. It doesn't matter.
Right. But it feels like it does in the moment.
Yeah.
And I was even going to say this kind of piggybacks a little bit back on what we talked about with our age difference. I was going to say this too to students because I think this is important. When she was a junior and I was a freshman, that's a big age gap.
Yeah.
Or when she was a senior and I was a sophomore, that feels like eons between us. And she had different life experiences. And then she went to college and I was still in high school for 2 years, you know. But I just would really encourage students to get out of your comfort zone and not limit yourself to only be friends with kids in your own grade or age bracket, because I just feel like we would have missed out on so much if she had not been willing to take the younger kid, you know. I mean, I'm just 2 years, which means nothing now. 2 years means
Although
nothing.
she still reminds me that she's 2 years
Well,
younger.
hello, I have to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, as an adult, it doesn't matter at all. But in high school, it was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I know that kind of jumped backwards on our questions, but I feel like that was important that she was willing to do that and to see me as a peer and a friend when, like, she was driving and I was not driving, you know, for years. She was able to drive before I could, and even just leaving and going to college and doing all those things that I was still kind of a couple years behind her. So
I think that's important for both the older kids, like, to be willing to reach out and mentor and build friendships with the younger ones, and also for the younger ones to not be afraid to befriend people who are older than
because we would have missed out on so
Yeah.
much had we let that been an issue. So
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was also going to ask for students that feel like they're kind of in the thick of it with drama or broken relationships, what would be the encouragement? But I think your point about, like, branch out. It's not all about, like, if Tina and I are best friends, it's not just, I don't have to zone in. I can pay attention to you guys, too.
Right.
So.
And I think she and I have always also had other really close friends. And, like, I never felt threatened by her friends. I don't think she ever felt threatened by mine. We kind of brought each other into the fold of each other's group of friends. We've always done that.
Yeah.
I've never been upset because she did something with someone else, and she was never upset because I did something with someone else. Part of that's because I think we were just secure in our relationship. And
well, I think we realized, at least I did, and I'm sure you did too, that, like, I can't meet every need that you have as a friend.
Right.
Like, you have other interests that I'm not interested in.
Right.
So you need other people in your life that can feed into that. Because I'm not, like even now in our state of friendship, like, she needs mom friends who can relate to the mom thing, and I'm not a mom, so I'm, you know, please go and get your, like, get your mommy fix with other people who understand it. But we're still friends. It doesn't matter to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just think that I think all of us, whether we're male, female, students, adults, we all have some degree of insecurity. And so if you can find a friend that you feel safe and secure with, and you're not second guessing or always self-doubting, I just think that is a rare gift.
You have to have the friend that you can have the filters off with.
Yes.
Because you can't pretend all the time.
Right.
It's exhausting.
Yes, exactly.
Those deeper friendships where you can really be yourself and share your heart. Yeah, that's important.
Absolutely.
Such good words. So many good words. So what do you feel are the most important qualities in a friend and for you to possess to be a good friend?
I know for us, the most important part of our friendship and the thing that has kept us friends all these years is Christ. That's it. I mean, he's the foundation of our friendship. And we have had other friends who have been friends along the way and have, you know, come and gone in our lives. But the friends that are rooted in Christ are the friends that stick.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I have other friends even from childhood that I've known longer than Karla, but we don't have the same kind of closeness or attachment still because we don't have that common bond. But then I also have friends that I haven't seen in 10 years or more from college, that because we have that bond of Christ, it just changes everything. And it shapes and defines the entire relationship. I mean, I don't know how we would even be friends if Jesus wasn't. It just, he's the glue, and I just think
because we're
that
complete
made a big
opposites.
difference.
We're like the most opposite friends that could be. Like, I remember when we were first friends, Amanda's mom said to my mom at church one morning, I really want Amanda and Karla to be friends because I want Amanda to teach Karla how to be more, like, feminine and girly. Do you not know that?
My mom told
Yes.
your mom that?
No, my mom told your mom
Oh.
that. My mom told her mom that.
I was like, how rude!
My mom wanted me to be more like Amanda and wear earrings and bangly jewelry and be girly.
That's hilarious.
And
Oh.
Amanda's mom told my mom, because I was a little farther along in my faith, and
Yes.
Amanda's mom told my mom she wanted Amanda to be my friend so that I could help her learn the Bible and get to
Yes,
know
so
the Bible
cool.
stuff more. Which
I
is
have
so funny.
so many
Which,
memories.
by the way, I would
Did
say,
it work,
no.
Karla?
I would just say I'm still not girly. Clearly, she still is.
You've got a
not
necklace
my
and
earrings.
earrings.
That's true. I
You
wear
do,
the
that's
same
right.
necklace and earrings every day. And Amanda knows way more about the Bible than I ever
That's
did,
not
so-
true. That's not true. I have so many memories of me in high school or college where Karla stood in the bathroom. I had a tiny, tiny bathroom growing up, a family of like 6 of us in the house, and one tiny bathroom. And Karla would stand in the doorway of that bathroom for hours
Yes.
watching me get ready and primp and all the hairspray and the makeup and the jewelry, and she'd just be like, oh. I
Yes.
mean, how many hours of your life do you
I'm pretty
think?
sure there's like a worn, like warbled side of the doorway where I just lean.
Are you done yet?
Gosh.
But we had the best conversations and we made some great memories in the bathroom while I got ready.
We still do that.
And we still
Like last night even.
That's hilarious.
True story.
That's just true.
I love that. I love that you didn't have to change for each other.
Yeah.
And that
No.
you just loved each other. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you guys actually set me up well for the next
Excellent.
question. How does your friendship together to other people glorify God? And then how do you guys support each other in your walk with Christ and encourage that for one another?
That's a good question.
I think I keep kind of coming back to this whole insecurity in relationships, because even as an adult, I have had so many relationships or friendships with other women that were totally destroyed or totally messy because there was insecurity. And so it was like a competition or a comparison or just lots of self-doubt, or you like her better than you like me. Even as adults, we're doing this. And so I feel like if we can do one thing well in our relationship, it's that we just don't do that. We're not in competition with one another. We are not constantly comparing ourselves to one another. We just support and encourage and believe in and love one another. I mean, like, I like her. I love her. We like to be together. And I'm never worried about what my position is with her. I've never worried about where do I stand with her. I just know we're solid and it's good, and we can bring people and they might be up here for a while and they might be down here, or they might, whatever. It doesn't matter, because what we have is, like she said, based firmly on our roots in Christ. And it's also based on a really cool history of just years and years and years of knowing each other, almost 30 years. And knowing each other well in those 30 years, all the warts and all the good and all the ugly and all the everything. So I think if that could be an example of just, we talk a big game about supporting one another and cheering for one another and being for one another, and I just don't think we're very good at that. Even as believers, I think we sometimes still, we just let insecurity eat away at us, or competition or comparison, and it can destroy relationships. It does destroy, or at least makes them kind of toxic and messy. And I feel like for some reason, God has graced us with, that's just not been our thing. And I attribute a lot of that to you, because I think you are so steady and you are so grounded with the Lord, and you know who you are and you know whose you are, and you walk in that every day. It just was never an issue. Never. So I hope that would be, I don't remember your question, but I hope that would be that would be how the example that we could set in that is just accepting one another.
Well, and I think that, how do we set an example outwardly too, like being true to one another in our friendship when the other person's not around. Because you know how that is when you're with your friend, and then they're not there, and then you're with another friend, and they start talking trash about whoever. Like, I'm never going to talk trash about her.
And I'm not going to let anybody else talk trash.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Which is, you know, that it's really easy to get swept up in the like the gossipy part of that with your friends, and we just don't do that to each other. Even if it's maybe founded in some truth, we still would still defend one another.
Absolutely.
Even when it's hard to defend, we have each other's backs. When you first asked the question, the first thing I thought of was when Amanda was pregnant with Caroline, and she was going to the hospital to have the baby, and I stayed home with Carson so that her family could all be with her at the hospital. And she told me that, you know, people were at the hospital, and all her whole family's there at the hospital with her, and people are like, "Who's got Carson?" And she was like, "Oh, Karla," and they're like, "Oh,
yeah,"
which was just made sense, you know, that I'm a trusted person in her life that would be the one that would be with her kids and, you know, take care of them.
And you came at 3 a.m.
I sure did. I
slept on the couch and took care of Carson.
Yeah.
So
I think just little things like that like just knowing that we've got each other's back and letting other people know, like, you don't mess with my friend is part of our witness too.
Absolutely.
And the two of you, your friendship, like you said, is like almost 30 years long. And so in that time, both of your lives have gone through all kinds of changes and things. Can you talk about like how those affected your friendship, how you stayed strong through it, and how you're still such good friends today, even though your lives aren't exactly the same, right?
Well, we talked a lot about, you know, because I was older than her in high school, and then I went to college, and she was still in high school, and so there was a lot of things that like I did first. So like I lived away from home first, and I went to college first. I graduated first. I got my first like apartment, and, you know, I did a lot of the first things first. And then we kind of switched roles, and like then Amanda got married, and then she got, you know, had kids, and so she was doing like the first things that I didn't do yet. And she moved really far away from home. I lived closer to home after she got married. So I think there was some of those, like, we understood that give and take of like, I was first for a little while, now it's her turn to be first for a little while. But I think part of us staying friends for so long is, again, being rooted in Christ and having that in common always. But then, like she said, we kept each other in the loop, you know? So when she met Darren, I was involved in that relationship. Like, she kept me involved in what was happening in her life. You know, I became almost as good of friends with Darren as I am with her. And I think that is so rare in couple friendships. And Darren understood the importance of us.
Right. And he never felt threatened by that. He encouraged it and supported it. Even though he did drive his car over your foot that one time.
He did. The first time I ever met him, he drove over my foot. But that's a different story entirely.
See, she's full of grace.
You forgive it. You're so Christ-like.
Yeah. But then I think too, it's just, you know, if it's important to you, you work at it, you make it work. And even the times when we weren't living in the same city or state,
which was a lot of times.
It was a lot of the times. We, you know, this is very old fashioned, but we wrote letters to each other. Like, I have letters from when I was in college and she was still at home in high school, and she was in college and I was in college. We just kept it at the forefront of who we were. We made a point to keep it fresh.
Forever, for years and years and years.
Yeah.
I also think we saw each other through some really high highs and some really low lows. I mean, we have stood at funerals together of people that, you know, were very close. Walked through Karla's mom passing, and that was a long time ago. But then recently her dad passing, and she's been there when Darren's dad passed away, and having babies or lots of different celebrations or big moves or promotions, or, you know, it's that shared life, that shared history. When you have those shared experiences, it just deepens the bond. And so you don't stand by a friend when they bury their mom and not have a whole different level of friendship. Like, you just don't, it's impossible. And you don't walk through the death of another family member like she did with us. I mean, she was just, you know, she dropped everything and was just right there. And that's what you do. And when you do those things for one another and you do those things with one another, it just seals this forever on this friendship. And And it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's, like I said, I think it's rare. But I don't think it's impossible. And I think we've made it like this impossible thing to achieve. And really, it's not. It's just...
It's not rocket science.
No, it's not rocket science.
So I have two thoughts about what you were saying. Number one, when my mom was really, really sick and was about to pass, Amanda was like, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be your rock. I will be your rock. I'm going to be there for you. And I was like, okay, friend, you're going to be there for me. Be my rock. So she shows up after my mom passes away. She shows up for the funeral. She's not a rock. She's like weeping, sobbing. She loved my mom. My mom loved her. But like, she's not a rock.
I kept saying I'm a terrible rock. Actually, I think you said that.
I was the rock. But it didn't matter because she was there. That was the important part.
I was a mushy rock.
Yes, she was a very, very, very mushy rock. It was such a lie. The second thing is, I was going to say this too. Because we're in different phases of our life, like I'm single and she's married with 4 kids and she's very busy and, you know, has a lot on her plate, but she keeps me involved. Like she invites me to her house for dinner. And on the same token, I have made it a point to invest in her kids.
Absolutely.
Which is a huge part of it because I'm involved in her kids' lives and they know me and they love me. And so, you know, if I had been like, well, she's married and has kids and had time with me, that isn't, who cares?
Right.
You know, I'm going to be involved in her life and her kids' lives,
right?
Just as much as
your family. I mean,
yeah.
you know, you become family, and my kids see you that way. Yeah. From the oldest to the youngest, they're just, it's like normal for her to be there, and it's abnormal if you're not around. So, I appreciate that.
And that's like a lack of selfishness. Like you're both just going to do what you can do to support the other one, and it's not like, oh, she's not there for me in my life and what I need.
Yeah,
so,
being willing
I love that.
to adapt.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah. So, what advice would you have for some of our students if they might be struggling to find good friends or just struggling in friendships in general to help find friends that are beneficial for them, but also like kind of like what you were saying, to see beyond just the right here, right now?
That's hard because it's hard to find a good friend. It's not an everyday thing that happens. I would say if you're really struggling with, you know, where to find the friend and how to find somebody who's rooted in Christ, get yourself rooted in Christ. Like if you don't have that person in your life right now, spend that time with the Lord and like get yourself right with Him. And then when you're ready, you know, when your heart's ready, then maybe your eyes will be open to somebody that you didn't expect. Like I never would have expected this. Seriously. She was like this little prissy little thing. I'm so serious. You were. She, like, I never in my life have I worn dress shoes to school. Like little slippers, things. I was always in tennis shoes every day of my life.
I don't think I ever wore tennis shoes to school.
And I'm looking right now at our shoes, and I have on tennis shoes, and she's got on cute little sandals. But yeah, it's not going to be the person that maybe you think or expect. It's going to be just keep your eyes open and keep praying about it.
Absolutely. I have prayed for friends multiple times, and I have never gone without an answer. Without a yes from the Lord. Now, a lot of times it wasn't the yes I was expecting, but I mean, multiple times. I would even say that's true of you. I prayed for a new friend here when you were living far, far away, and Tina just showed up, and I'm like, that's her. That's
we
the
were
one.
both praying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like pray about it, ask God, but then be willing to accept who he sends. And a lot like what you were saying, you know, if you want to find a good, godly friend, then you need to get yourself right with Christ and rooted in Christ. But also, I think in order to have a friend, it sounds so trite, but you have to be a friend. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and invest and really try to work on and nurture and give time and attention to that person and that relationship. But I also think, I remember being a student, I remember what it was like in middle school and high school. There's a lot of phony, surface level, ever-changing, toxic friendships. And unfortunately, those will follow you into adulthood as well. But when you know that you're in a friendship with someone that is not healthy, it's constant drama, you never know from day to day where you stand with that person. You know, one day they're nice to you, the next day they're not. That is not a friend.
Yeah.
That is not a friend. And it's hard because, like you mentioned, it feels like it's your whole world. And so to remove that person from your life, or to, in a healthy way, distance yourself from that person, that's really hard. But in the long run, it is so worth it to be kind to everyone, be friendly to everyone, but
We should do a prom picture. Like, put your hand like here.
But
I'm the boy.
wait. We totally need to do the curtsy thing. That almost hurt you at your birthday
I
party.
can do it.
The May.
What is that called?
Is it recording?
The Maypay.
Is it recording?
Yep.
Cool beans.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Is he
Thanks,
coming, is he coming back?
Thanks, Danny.
No.
He just left so quietly.
Yeah, he's like, I want out of here.
We started talking about Mayfair when you were in.
I know. You must know all about it.
Nobody knows. It's a secret society.
It really is.
I always get nervous like before we start. I don't know why.
hate being on
This is
camera.
what Caroline does before she
And
does.
so, who does this?
Caroline, before she goes on stage.
But then if you make fun of her and like Darren, because he like
What
he'll
are the
do
things
it.
they say? Like, Mary Moo, mana mana. I don't know. They have those things they say.
You just made
La,
that
la,
up.
la, I
Very
know.
moo mana mana.
Mana mana.
I feel very short compared to you.
Yeah.
You
It's the short
awkward.
chairs.
I don't know. We want to like
Look at me.
look down on you.
I'm not sitting up straight either. You're gonna get your, I'm like
Your
the mama monkey, like push the
posture.
bugs off.
Monkey.
That's what the mama monkey does, you know,
You
like
know, picks the bugs off the baby.
And eats it?
yeah. Oh,
Have you made this too? Okay, sorry.
I'm really glad this is all being recorded.
I'm putting my glasses in your purse. Okay. Okay. Don't walk off. with
I
it.
probably will.
Okay. We'll try not to. You and I remember things.
Yeah,
so
we're
well.
really good
We
for
all
each
know
other like that. Let's go for
Okay.
a drive. Just kidding.
No. We'll never come back.
I thought you guys were
We'll
best
send
friends.
Carla. We'll send Carla to the
I just met her yesterday.
Chick-fil-A with the kids. We'll
No,
meet her there.
Cane's.
Cane's. We'll meet you there, Carla.
I've done that before. That means here, buy lunch for all my children while we go driving about.
That's what we were doing. Enjoy ride.
Oh, it's so true. Okay.
Hold on.
Yes. What should we
I
do?
didn't know you guys already heard this, but just to reaffirm, speak loudly. So this
Say,
picks up
hello.
all the sound.
My
My
name
name
is
is
Carla Lowe's.
Carla.
Okay.
No, not like that. Do you want to start or you want me to start?
Okay. I'll start, and then how about we just go back and forth, so we don't always have to be like, "Do you want to know something?" Because that's usually what we do in our interviews. Do you have anything else to say? Okay. We'll try to avoid that. All right. Well, first, ladies, we know who you are, but everyone else may not. So if you'll tell us your names and a little bit about yourselves.
Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Amanda Walter, and I'm married to Darren, the lead pastor here, and mom to Carson, Caroline, Case, and Kerrigan. And is that it?
I'm Carla. I work here at the church in the children's ministry, and I am married to no one, and I have no children.
You have a lot of
But I
children.
have
do.
friends.
I have a
Hundreds of
question.
children.
Yes.
Where do we look?
At the camera,
At the camera?
Yes.
like this.
Can I
We've
go
been
back and
doing
forth?
them over Skype for
We
everyone
can.
else.
I
'cause
know,
it's been
so
people
we
who
don't
are
really
far
know what
away,
we're doing.
so-
It's
Okay.
just weird.
Should we
Usually
do that
we're-
again?
We're on the screen.
Introductions, or
Do you want to
Yeah.
redo yours?
I was really loud.
I'm Carla!
She said speak loud.
You did great.
Thanks.
We should. Okay.
Of course, right after mine, I was like, they can edit that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's Jenny's job.
Edit that, Jenny.
Not take that out.
Are we redoing or just?
I don't know.
We can redo.
Okay.
We're redoing?
We
Yeah.
want Carla
Okay.
to go first. I don't care.
I don't care. Go first.
Okay.
So say, tell us.
Ask me the
about
question.
Oh. We're so good at
This is gonna be so fun to edit.
this. This is.
I'm just gonna cut to right here and then start.
Start now.
Ready and